Hello, geometry students. So today we're going to continue our study of three-dimensional solids, and we are going to focus on the volume of cones. So we are going to go through three examples in this video to find the volume of the cone, okay? And we're going to look at it from three different types of problems. The big difference between them is if you look at the first situation here, it says find the volume of a right circular cone that has a height of 7.6 inches and a base with a radius of 11.1 inches. Okay. The second one still says to find the volume of a cone, and it gives you the height. This time it gives you the diameter, so you've got to adjust it to find your radius. And then the last one, again, same thing. Find the volume of a cone. It has a height of 4.9 centimeters, and they tell you the base circumference. So again, you need to work backwards to find your radius, and then you can calculate your volume. Okay, so if we need to, first off, we could draw a little picture of a cone. So I tend to draw it like an oval, and then coming down to a point here. Now, again, in your cone, you have a radius and you have a height. Those are your two dimensions that you need in order to calculate volume. And if you don't know your formula for volume of a cone, if you flip back a couple pages in your notebook, right here, a cone, here's the volume formula. So we're going to take pi r squared times the height and then divide it by 3. And we're going to need to make sure our answers are accurate, so you're going to need to use that pi button on your calculator rather than approximating with 3.14. So again, the volume of a cone is pi r squared times your height divided by 3. So going back to my examples, here we go. So I'm just going to jot that down. So again, volume is pi r squared times h divided by 3. So in my first example here, it says the height is 7.6 inches and the base has a radius of 11.1 inches. So this is my radius and this is my height, h for height. So again, we're going to plug it into my formula here. So we're going to say we have pi times the radius, which is 11.1 squared, times the height, which is 7.6. And again, I have to divide that by 3. So if I multiply that out, let's see here. So if I take a 1.1 squared, that is 123.21. And I'm going to multiply that by 7.6. That gives me 936.396, and then I have to divide that by 3. This gives me 312.132 pi. So to find my answer, again, I'm going to take 312.132 and multiply that by pi. So if I take that times pi, and it says to round it to the nearest tenth of an inch. So that's one place after your decimal. So I get 980.59. So I'm going to chop it here. This is the 10th spot, this 5. I look to the right, I see a 9. That means I'm going to round this up to a 6. So my final answer is 980.6. And volume is in cubic units, so it's going to be cubic inches. Okay. So if I shift to the next problem. It says find the volume of a right circular cone that has a height of 18.8 inches and a base with a diameter of 14.3 inches. So again, the formula is pi r squared h divided by 3. Sorry about that. And now it tells me diameter. Diameter and radius are not the same thing. So if I take the diameter, 14.3, and divide it by 2, that gives me the radius. So this is 7.15, that's the radius. So in my formula, I'm going to take pi times 7.15 squared, because again, it's r squared, times my height, which it says in the problem is 18.8. And again, I have to divide that by 3. We always divide it by 3 in a cone. So again, if I take 7.15 squared times 18.8, if I divide that by 3, I get 320.36766, etc. So I'm just going to round it to about 8 here, 3.68. And then I have a pi in here, so I need to multiply that times pi. And again, if I'm going to round to the nearest tenth, that's 1006.46, etc. So nearest tenth would be that 4. If I look to the right, I see a 6. So that means that's going to round up to a 5. So my answer is going to be 1006.5. And I'm in inches, so it's going to be cubic inches. So again, you are going to need your calculator today to work out your calculations. Okay, if I look at the last example, so again, it says to find the volume of a right circular cone, and I have a height of 4.9 centimeters and a base with a circumference of 8.4 centimeters. And again, I want to round my answer to the nearest tenth of a cubic centimeter. So again, volume of a cone is pi r squared h divided by 3. I know the height. I'm going to leave the squared part blank for now. The height is 4.9, but I need to figure out what this radius here is going to be. So if you think about it, circumference of a circle, the formula is 2 pi r. And again, if you didn't know that, you could refer back to your wheel. So I know the circumference is 8.4. And again, I want to figure out what's my radius. So you got to think, how do I find the r value? What I need to do is to divide by 2 and by pi. Okay, now on your calculator, you might want to figure out what 2 pi is first and then take 8.4 and divide it by that, but it's up to you. If you're going to type it in directly, what you want to do is type in 8.4, and when you hit divided by, in parentheses, you need to put 2 pi in your calculator. Otherwise, your calculator is going to think that you're dividing by 2 and then multiplying by pi. That's a whole different story. So my radius, I'm going to keep 2 places here, is I'm going to say it's 1.34. I'm going to round a little bit. Okay, so now that I know the radius, I'm going to plug it in right here for my r value. So again, I'm going to plug in that 1.34. So now that I have the radius, I'm going to multiply this out. So I'm going to take 1.34 squared times 4.9 divided by 3. So I get about 2.93. It says 28, so I'm just going to say 9.33. And then I'm going to multiply that by pi. So 2.933 times pi. So I get 9.21. So again, the tenths place is the 2. If I look to the right of it, I see a 1. That means this is going to stay a 2. So my answer is going to be 9.2. And I'm going to have cubic centimeters. Okay, so today your assignment is in Delta Math. You're going to have a section on each, for one where I give you the radius and the height, one where I give you the diameter and the height, and one where I give you the circumference and the height, okay? Along with that, since we had a little break here, there's going to be a few other problems of review. So one of them will be like volume of a cube or rectangular prism. Remember, you can do length times width times height on those. Okay, you're gonna have two problems about a volume of a cylinder. So remember, our formula is pi r squared h. And then there's two problems about volume of a pyramid. And again, we had some examples over here. Remember, our formula is area of the base times the height divided by 3. If you're struggling with those, please look at your notebook for some guidance. And if you are still struggling, again, you can try watching the videos in Delta Math. And if you need help, I will be back tomorrow to help you. Have a great day.